right, hello everyone. I am back and I wanted to do another deck comparison video. And the sun is in Pisces right now, it's Pisces season. And in my own birth chart, the sun enters my 4th house of home, family, ancestors, and such. So I have decided to pull my ancestral decks that I work with currently. And they are the Future Ancestor Tarot. And this is by Lexa Luna at Lexa Luna Studio. And I believe these are still in print. And then this is the well-known Relative Tarot by Carrie Paris, and this is the Dust to Onyx, and this is by Courtney A. Alexander. So these two are indie decks, and this is a mass market deck, but this was an indie deck before. So this one, so they're all in print, I believe, and this is probably the most readily available and affordable. And so I wanted to compare these side by side. I haven't really, to be honest, I haven't really done deep dive throughs with myself with the Dust to Onyx. This is probably the most challenging deck for me to read. The Future Ancestor Tarot, it's a very much of a self-care, really comforting deck that I go for. And then the Relative Tarot, this one's really interesting. Even though this is intended to be working with ancestral stuff, trauma and DNA and such, I've actually found it really, really well to read for past life. But in any case, this is kind of on a whim. I wanted to put all these decks side by side, look at them, make some comments here and there. I'm more doing this for myself, but for those of you who are interested, you can gladly continue to watch, all right? So let's go ahead, turn these decks over, and some of these decks that are glossy, there may be a glare on it, so I apologize in advance. Okay. And there we go. Let me see if it's better if I zoom in a little more. I think that should be good. Okay. So as always, we start with the Fool. Now, the Future Ancestor and the Relative Fools, definitely you have that sense of freedom and the free spirit, right? More so than the Dust to Onyx. And I intentionally, actually, not only for the vibe, but also for like the color tones and such, I went from light to dark. So the Relative Tarot is kind of a medium color tones and shade tones, whereas the Future Ancestor is light, Dust to Onyx is a bit dark. So I thought that was another key thing to do. So there's the Fool. And I believe all three decks are pretty true to the RWS system. Okay, so here is the Magician. Now, to note, the Future Ancestor is called the Alchemist, and then Dust to Onyx, they call the Magician the Conjurer, which I really like. Both these titles, alternate titles for the Magician, I really like. I love the hands here with the eyes, a little bit of that monster from Pan's Labyrinth. And I love this the conjurer aspect of here. This person wearing this mishmash of patterns, also working with their hands. And you know, guys, one really big thing to note with the Relic Tarot, this is I trimmed the deck actually. I did not like the borders, and the manufacturer of this, which I'm not sure if it's US Games or not, they did not such a great job of matching the border, so some of these you actually see a little bit of a sliver of that border. I was not able to trim, so just to know. But yeah, here's the Magician. Here is the Magician. So which from these decks do you guys feel has the most ancestral vibe to you? In which deck would you want or you feel more connected to your ancestors? We have the High Priestess here. We have her pillars represented differently, right? The two trees, the traditional black and white pillar, and then we have almost this like gap or unfolding from this headpiece. Now, Future Ancestor and Relic Tarot both are named High Priestess, but the Dust to Onyx, they named it the High Priestess the Shaman, which I really like. And interesting, there are so many decks that use the title of Shaman for different major arcanas. I've noticed that, I believe in the Vision Quest, the Hierophant is renamed the Shaman, and there's another deck out there, I believe the Magician is renamed the Shaman. So that's a really interesting archetype to really do more research on, and why it can be used for so many different major arcanas. Yeah, here's the High Priestess. And I feel, you know, with these cards, with these cards here, or these decks, the Future Ancestor Tarot, this High Priestess, she feels a lot more still and quiet. This High Priestess Relative Tarot, this is giving me of, oh my goodness, what's her name? From that Greek mythology. She was, like a channeler for Apollo. Is it Pythia? I think that's her name, Pythia. She gave me a lot of those Pythia vibes. She doesn't seem as calm. She definitely looks like she is feeling some energy running through her. And then with Dust to Onyx, this is also, by the way, by the way, guys, this is also the travel edition. So these cards are probably, they're smaller than the original. But this shaman, or this magician, High Priestess, her eyes are closed, like the Future Ancestor. But there's with her, I get almost this impenetrable vibe from her. Like, I can't really read into her. So very, very different vibes I'm getting from these three decks on the High Priestess. All right. And guys, I feel like this video might be really long. I'm looking at my time here. But anyways, we have the Empress. So interesting. We have, just to note, the Dusty Onyx names the Empress, or renames the Empress Queen Mother. She is nude. This Empress is fully covered, head to toe. And then we have a pretty modest Empress here with the Future Ancestor. Now, it would be interesting if I really looked at, I know that the Future Ancestor deck was created from a place of personal grief. I believe Lexa Luna lost two of her grandfathers either before or in midst the pandemic. So that's kind of the root or where this came from, this deck. I'm not sure about Carrie Paris in her Relative Tarot, where this exactly came from. And I believe Courtney Alexander was going through some sort of spiritual journey. So I should have done my research on that, so I apologize. But that would be really interesting to note. But all three empresses are looking straight forward at us, is one thing I can see in common. Both the Relative and the Dust to Onyx empresses are really adorned, right? There is a sense of luxury, fashion about them. This is a very humble empress, as I said. And I feel like more personable, to be honest, more approachable. I'm getting more of the maternal energy from this empress. This is giving more queen vibes. This empress, queen, but I'm actually getting more of a princess. Interestingly, more of a princess energy from the Relative empress. So let's go on to Emperor. These are very different, very different. This is very modern day business owner emperor energy. This looks like a Russian monarch, king, emperor energy, and this is more of that warrior. Getting more of that Emperor Aries connection with the Dust to Onyx. And this Emperor is actually pretty androgynous, even though initially I do believe it looks like a female. But who knows, right? So we actually have clearly a male here with the beard. Emperor. Androgynous, unsure Emperor with the Dust to Onyx. And then this the future Ancestor, initially we'll think this is a female from the haircut, but it really could be androgynous too. So that's an interesting thing to note. And the Dust to Onyx renamed the Emperor as the Chief. Okay. So on to the Hierophant. And so only the Relative Tarot has kept the Hierophant's title. Future Ancestors renamed it to Virtue, which I really like. And then Dust to Onyx has renamed it to The Moor. I'm actually going to Google what is a Moor. So Moor is a term used by Christian Europeans to designate the Muslim inhabitants of Maghreb, the Iberian Peninsula, Sicily, and Malta. The Moors initially were the indigenous... So I guess it's a name given by the Christian Europeans for a specific group of people. I have to read the guidebook a bit more to understand why, but yeah, you definitely get that African, Middle Eastern ness with this. We have two females here. We have a male, a Dust to Onyx. You know, with the Moor here with this hand up, the impression I'm getting is I'm not quite sure with the Dust to Onyx if they are halting me, like they're silencing me or stopping me, or they are doing something else, if you get my drift with that. Relative Tarot, this is a pretty standard traditional RWS Hierophant I'm getting with this. Besides that, it's a female. And then with the Virtue, this is giving me a lot of that kindergarten teacher energy, which I really like. I mean, the Future Ancestor Tarot is just so approachable, so relatable. This is probably the most modern of the 3 decks. So maybe that's in question why I feel so much comfort from it, but I also think it's just the aesthetic and the energy of the deck too. But yeah. So on to the Lovers. And another thing I did not note is that with the Relative Tarot, there are a lot of alternative cards. So just keeping with the RWS system, I just chose the heterosexual lovers card. There is other homosexual, there's a gay and lesbian depiction here. Alternative cards, and I think there's alternative strength and a justice, and there's other ones too that I forgot, but I just want to note that. But in any case, here are the lovers cards. We have that standard 3 beings lovers with the Relative Tarot. And then we have a couple. This lovers, and by the way, they're all called lovers. The Dust to Onyx lover, this is giving me that sense of brotherhood. This is obviously romantic. It's even more of a familial bond with the lovers here. I could be wrong, but that's just my initial feeling or energy. And then this is that RWS lovers with that trinity going on. Yeah, this is gonna be a long video. So here we have the Chariot. The Dust to Onyx renamed it the Rider. Both the Relative and the Dust to Onyx Chariot cards, the people are wearing some sort of, I forget what it's called, some emblem on their helmet, as RWS Chariot does. The Future Ancestor Chariot, it's giving me more of that full energy. Of, you know, instead of diving straight forward, they are flying, they're leaping, soaring. So this has the most movement out of all the cards. Both Relative, Dust to Onyx Chariots, pretty stagnant feeling. They look like they're unmoving. So, yeah. Onto Strength. And they are all named Strength. We have the traditional lion depicted in different ways. Dust to Onyx has it on the clothing. Relative Tarot, this person looks like they're riding the lion, on top of the lion. And then this is probably one of my favorite strength cards. It's talking about the strength to let go, to forgive, which is beautiful. And I'm trying to see if the infinity sign, besides the Dust to Onyx, is depicted anywhere. I do not see it. So only the Dust to Onyx has the infinity symbol. That's interesting. All right, on to the Hermit. So this is very interesting. So the Relative Hermit, I really like. This is probably one of my favorite cards in the deck. This really gives me that Guru, Sage, Hermit way of going about it. This is giving more of that student staying up at night, studying for that late night exam energy with the future ancestor. And then this hermit, I get the most loneliness with this, with the Dust to Onyx one. This with the eyes looking off in the distance, this anticipation, this longing or searching for something. But there's a wisdom there too, but I feel most of it with the Relative Tarot. So I do like all of these hermits, but it's interesting that they're all portrayed very differently. So, and the Lantern. So yeah, only the Relative Tarot has Lantern. So I feel as I'm going through this, the Relative Tarot is the most, I know she is collaging for a lot of these cards, or this is a collage deck, but she is the most sticking to the RWS imagery wise. So now we have the Wheel of Fortune. We have the change of seasons here. Sorry about that. So we have the change of seasons with here. We have the Wheel of Fortune here. So with the Future Ancestor Tarot, I understand this immediately. Change of seasons, change of cycles. This looks like a bicycle. This man is fixing. That again, understand, I'm getting more of that actual physical movement with it. But also initially this looks like a mirror holding up. Probably I can go a lot more deeper into this Wheel of Fortune. And then Dust to Onyx, this one, I'm not getting quite much from it. Definitely need to dive more deeper into that. Justice. Justice is actually one of the most difficult major arcana cards for me to interpret or to understand. I know it can be about fairness, balance, it could be about vengeance, it could be about karma, cause and effect, but I just feel like I haven't really done much study on it. So we have Justice here. They're all named Justice in all three decks. We're getting a sense of dynamic with two people in the Future Ancestor. I really feel the Libra connection with Justice in the Dust to Onyx, with the scales being on the opposite of the mind, the balance of left and right brain. I love this little owl peeping out, representing wisdom, perception, and such. Yeah. Okay. So on to the Hanged Man. So we have the Future Ancestor Tarot. Sorry guys, I'm just adjusting. So we have the Future Ancestor Tarot renaming this card as Metamorphosis. We have the Dusty Onyx renaming this as Suspension. So out of these three, I really like the Future Ancestor interpretation. The idea of going into your cocoon to be rebirth, right? There's that sense of that. It's giving a little bit of that judgment vibes. a little bit of Four of Swords, you know, preparing for a transformation. This is not my favorite hangman. I understand its playfulness with Houdini and such. And obviously with this one, I have no idea. I have no idea. This Dust to Onyx, I really do have to read intuitively and do more deep study dives into. All right, so we have Death here. And as I'm going through and looking at the cards, guys, you know, I feel the Rel Tarot is the most playful. It's the most playful out of these three. Just Onyx is the most serious. And I feel like the Future Ancestor kind of, I feel like it is playful, but it kind of borders on, it's kind of in between of these two in terms of being playful and serious. Temperance. The Onyx Temperance is giving me a lot of that magician energy with the hands up. Looks like there's some energy work going on, which is one of the connections I get from Temperance is energy work. Devil. That's definitely the most friendly devil card I've ever seen. I may be wrong. The Playful Heart, I believe the Playful Heart Tarot, the devil's probably not as frightening or can't find a better word for that, but yeah. Very much connecting, this is very much connecting me with the energy of Fool for me. Here we have the Tower. Now, I know a lot of you guys, and I'm concluding myself, fear, get this kind of a little hit of anxiety when the Tower card comes up. I don't really get it so much with the Dusty Onyx, interestingly. I actually get it the most with the Future Ancestor. I can really feel my feet on cracks. Like, I know that feeling, being on thin ice. Really interesting. Now we have the Star. This is energetically the most quiet for the Star for me. Connecting a lot with the Hermit energy here. This is giving me a lot of judgment energy, rebirthing energy from the Dusty Onyx Star. And then we have the Moon. This is a pretty solemn, somber moon. the Dusty Onyx, Future Ancestor, and Relative Tarot both have a very playful moon, which is really interesting. Dancing in the moonlight, drinking away your feelings at midnight. Yeah. And you know, as I'm reflecting on my own ancestral practice, I think I really do use the Dusty Onyx the most, because my ancestral practice is more about digging up a lot of that root sacral chakra trauma, and I want a more of a heavier, serious deck. Not that you can't use these decks for ancestral work, but I think my intention draws me to this this deck more. But I just think it's interesting that these all three have that ancestral connection or ancestor connection. So this is the sun. And I wonder if this person's eyes are closed or not. Because this sun is giving me almost like a happy High Priestess energy. I've never seen a couple depicted in the sun, so that's really interesting. Then we have Judgment. Now, Dusty Onyx Judgment, I'm getting a lot of collective energy from it. And then with the Future Ancestor, this is more personal. And then we have the world, or the universe, which both these, the Relative and Dusty Onyx, renamed. And we have finished the Major Arcana. Okay, now I don't want to lessen the importance of the Minor Arcana by going through it more quickly and not really babbling, but this video is getting very long, so let's get to this. So we have the Ace of Wands. This is called the Ace of Candles, Ace of Staves. Getting a lot of energy with the Dusty Onyx. Ace of Wands depiction. We have the Two of Staves. Very different, very different. We have Three of Staves, Three of Wands. We have Four of Wands. I actually really like this Four of Wands. We have the Five of Wands. These two are very similar. Well, not really, actually, as I look closely. This feels less of that competition rivalry from compared to these other two decks. We have the Six of Wands. That's really interesting, Six of Wands. All right. Seven of Wands. Oh my gosh, I thought this was Ryan Gosling. That's probably not, but maybe it's his ancestor. All right, so we have the Eight of Wands. All cards. Love all that movement, that energy. They all have it. We have 9. Oh, I really like this. That's a really nice Nine of Wands. With what I think looks like a geisha shielding herself from the wind with an umbrella. That's beautiful. Okay. And then we have the 10 of Wands. This is definitely giving me that you can do it the most energy. This is definitely giving me that traditional RWS slugging through to the end. I really feel the weight, though, in the future ancestor. 10 of Wands. Okay, so onto the Page of Wands. So in the future ancestor, the pages are renamed the Student, and in the Dust to Onyx, they are renamed Little, or Little. All right, we have the Knight of Wands. We have the Queen of Wands. Then the King of Wands. Okay. And then on to the Suit of Cups, or the Suit of Gourds in the Dust to Onyx. So we have Ace of Cups. Two of Cups. This is very interesting with the eyes here. Three of Cups. These two have the most of that sisterhood bonding energy. This looks to me a little bit of that Three of Cups reversed energy. Okay. Four of Cups. Oh, I'm just thinking of Alice in Wonderland here. You know, this deck is very evocative of like historical literature or movie references, the Road to Tarot. That's why I really like that. Maybe that's why I really feel drawn to it for the past life work. Really interesting. Okay. Here's the Five of Cups. This one is very different. The Dust to Onyx. The Six of Cups. Very different again. With the Dust to Onyx. Seven of Cups. Eight of Cups. Nine of Cups. I love that she's taking a bath. That would make me emotionally fulfilled, definitely. And then 10 of Cups. Very similar with all three decks, the 10 of Cups. All right, now to the court cards in the cups. We have the Page of Cups. Knight of Cups. Queen of Cups. I really like how the Queen is renamed Listener in the Future Ancestor Tarot. The receptive energy. And I don't know about this Queen of Cups. And then the King of Cups. All right. Two more suits to go. So we have the Ace of Swords, or in the Future Ancestor, it's called Needles, and then with the Dusty Onyx, called Blades. Okay. Two of Swords. All have their eyes covered in all three decks. This is just, yeah. Carrie Paris makes me laugh. Three of Swords. I just can't take the heartbreak seriously if I see this. Okay. Four of Swords. I really like this Four of Swords. This is one of my favorite cards in her deck. Five of Swords. Six of Swords. I can totally feel this. This is reminding me of like Wizard of Oz, and this is Dorothy going away from her farm. Much more comfortably than a tornado, though. Okay. We have the Seven of Swords. Oh my goodness. This guy here. And with this Seven of Swords depiction, you can definitely hear that gossip or people talking about you. Okay, the Eight of Swords. Again, none of these cards, you can see the eyes, or the eyes are blindfolded in some way. This one, I guess the ring, not the ring, the cage bars is obscuring their eyes. And then the Nine of Swords. This one looks really grotesque. And then we have the Ten of Swords. That card. Okay. Onto the Page of Swords. Oh my goodness. Okay. That gives me anxiety. I'm just imagining if I had a child and they were attempting to do that trick of swallowing a sword. Wow. Okay. Knight of Swords. Queen of Swords. Now, I have to say, facial expression wise, from these three decks, I definitely notice it more in the Relative Tarot. Definitely notice the most in the Relative Tarot. Okay. And then we have the not Queen, King of Swords. Okay. On to our last suit, which is the Pentacles. So we start with the Ace of Pentacles, or in Future Ancestor, it's called Seeds. Does to Onyx, it's renamed Coins. This is the Two of Coins. Or Two of Seeds. Or not Two of Two of Pentacles. Either title works. Three of Pentacles. Really like this one. At least initially. All right. And then we have the Four of Coins. This one's really interesting. Not getting that hoarder energy with the Future Ancestors Four of Seeds. Getting more of that structure. You know, Earth plus that number 4, foundation, stability. Okay. And then we have the Five of Pentacles. Both giving me that homely energy. Not sure exactly. Oh my gosh, I think this is a ship. You know, these two are giving me that sense of immigrants, of foreign people out of their birth country, you know? That's really interesting. Interesting. Okay. Really like that. Interpretation. So this is the Six of Pentacles. This is really striking. This is the Seven of Pentacles. This is giving more of a Nine of Pentacles energy. She's definitely doesn't look like she's having a good crop this season. Eight of Pentacles. She's working, at least visually, the hardest. Okay, and then the Nine of Pentacles. It's giving me like that world, the World card energy here. No bird in the Future Ancestor. We have the bird in the other two decks. And then we have the Ten of Pentacles. All right, and onto the Page of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles. We have the Queen of Pentacles. And our last set here, we end with the King of Pentacles. All right. So thank you for those of you who actually stuck to the end of the video. If you didn't, no hard feelings. I probably wouldn't have either if I wasn't filming this, and that is a huge reason why I film. I wanted to film this so I can actually go through comparing, and it's really interesting, you know, all three made with the intention of ancestors, either fully to work with or partially, not quite sure. Would have to talk to the creators or read the guidebook or study this a little more, but it's interesting, right, guys, that all ancestral decks, very different energy vibes. And like I said, guys, comment down below which decks do you have of these. Do you work with it for ancestral stuff, your ancestral work, ancestral practice? Which deck feels the most ancestral to you? And what does that mean to you, that word ancestral? What kind of energy does, or adjectives would you use to describe that word, ancestral, right? And yeah, very, very interesting. I mean, from my own personal experience here, like I said, guys, I use Future Ancestor a lot for, it's like my self-care, comforting, you know, when I want to do shadow work, but not really want to be hit with a heavy dose of triggers. This is my deck, and also this is probably when I pull for like like messages from my ancestors. This is the deck I would use. The Relative Tarot, again, past life readings. I feel like this really just evokes a lot of history. You know, I really can see the history because of the collage work. And then this is the triggering deck, right? The Just 2 Onyx. It's where I do a lot of that trauma and you know, that deep healing work. So I hope you guys enjoyed or got something out of this video. And whether or not you do your ancestral work, or whether or not you have these decks, wish you all the best. Much love and light. And until next time. All right, take care, guys.